Welcome to the Scare Guy Show, the official podcast of thescareguy.com, the scarier side of the con guy. Straight from the spooky heart of Hollywood, California, we are your home for news and discussions on horror films, haunted attractions, fan conventions, and all things that are scary fun. All, hopefully, from a filmmaker's perspective. My name is Jim Fry. I'm your editor-in-chief. Who else do we have in the house with us? Let's start up top with Carrie.
What's up, everybody? Excited to be here.
Cheeseman.
Yeah. Luke Cheeseman here with scareguy.com, screenwriter and also social media director. And I just want to say Luke is the best name ever.
We'll get to that in just a second. We have two really great guests with us today, and it's a really cool show that we're going to be talking about. It's a brand new show on the Syfy network. It comes out in July. I guess you could say it's X-Files meets $1 Million Listing. Real estate agent Luke Roman is the owner of the Roman Agency, a boutique residential real estate brokerage specializing in metaphysically engaged properties, also known as haunted houses. Luke has a special connection to the spiritual realm. He can not only sense the presence that might inhabit a client's house, he can often communicate and negotiate with it for the best price, of course. Along with his team, Luke takes on the houses nobody can or nobody will. And our guest for the show today is Luke Roman himself, the actor Tim Rozon. Thank you so much, Tom. Glad to have you.
Yeah, no problem. I won't even because I've been called Tom on so many things.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Doesn't matter. We're going with it. Trust me, on Twitter, I'm already Tom. I've been called Tom almost on everything. It's all good.
You know what it is? You have the two O's in your last name, so my eyes immediately. But I knew your name was Tim Rozon. Okay, Luke, we're going to edit this out. Okay, I'm going to say.
Believe it.
No, come on. We love this. He's going to share this with the media.
Already on Twitter, they call me Tom Rozon. It's a thing.
Yeah,
Tim, so glad to have you today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm not going to mess up the next name. The producer and director, Danishka Esterhazy. That's an easy name for me, considering what I just messed up. Thank you, guys. Welcome to the Scare Guys Show. So glad to have you today.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to start, and then I'm going to throw it out to everybody. A real estate agency that specializes in haunted houses and the paranormal. What a great idea. Danishka, can you tell us, where did this idea come from?
Well, it came from our wonderful creator and showrunner, George Olson, who put this whole concept together and who wrote many of the episodes as well. And he just, I think he was pitching it as, the wonderful juxtaposition between these interesting characters who are saving the world and fighting evil, but also just really trying to sell houses. So it's a wonderful combination of the most banal kind of life and something really unusual and supernatural.
Mm-hmm. Carrie.
Nice. Yeah, both of you have worked on genre shows before, so this seems like a fun shift, but somewhere very adjacent. So we'll start with Tim. You've worked on everything.
That's Tom.
Tom to Jim. Yeah.
Tim, you've worked on horror western before. You've also worked on sci-fi, also with Danishka, which is cool. So now you're in a horror-esque drama comedy. How is that for you as a show? And what are your thoughts on just working in genre television in general?
I personally love it. And on a show like this, there's literally everything for you to do. It's just a smorgasbord of emotions and things for you to play with, and cast of characters that you meet and get to do scenes with. So genre is never boring. Plus, if you die, there's a good chance you still have a job.
That's true.
That's a very good point.
If I'm on a procedural and I'm dead, I'm hoping for a dream sequence, season come back or something,
You're an evil twin.
Yeah.
Good point. Yes. And then Danishka, you are director and producer on this show for different episodes, and you also worked with Tim on Vagrant Queen of sci-fi genre, and now you're with this show. What is that transition like for you? Is it similar, different, and how do you like working in genre film and television?
Well, this one was really a dream come true because I love ghost stories and I've always loved ghost stories. So, you know, the idea of not just getting to tell the story of one haunted house, but a different haunted house every episode is like Tim's at a smorgasbord. It's so fun because every kind of ghost you can imagine, we get to tell their story. And every week we get to go to a new, amazing, spooky location and, you know, watch the team discover what the mystery of that particular house is.
Ooh, so this will be a kind of a monster of the week kind of show?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, we have a really interesting development between our team and the characters and the emotional relationships they're going throughout the season. But yeah, every week we get to find a new house that needs to be sold.
Fun.
Which is cool. I watched the pilot episode and I was telling Carrie right before the show started, your opening shot with the Exorcist homage was the best. I was like, I'm going to love this show. It's so great. But I really did like the mythology that you were able to build in just in this first episode with, you know, I don't want to give the mythology away, but, you know, the family relations and like the you know, the different things, the different capabilities that each team member brings to it, and where does that lead them? I think that's great. It was it was very creative. So, by the way, whose idea was the opening image that was so great?
We have to give credit to our wonderful pilot director, Paul Fox. And, you know, when we were planning this season, you know, all the directors and our wonderful cinematographer, Jackson Perrell, and myself, we were all talking about how we're such deep fans of horror. We love horror and we love classic horror. And we wanted to pay homage to certain elements of horror in every episode. So yeah, that one was Paul's love, you know, letter to The Exorcist.
So great. Cheeseman, you have a question?
Yeah. So, Tim, you got an interesting co-star on the show. So, Sarah Levy back together again since Schitt's Creek. And my mom actually introduced me to that show, of all things. She really loved it. So, when I'd go back, travel to Ohio and visit, we'd watch the show late into the night. But what was it like working with her again, and how did it differ from your experience there?
It was... It's tough to put into words. There was just a level of comfort there, immediate. You know, when I first found out that I might have gotten the part, the only question I asked was, well, who's going to be playing Susan? And they said, it looks like it's going to be Sarah Levy. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So we immediately started texting, and that was it. As soon as we were like, we're doing this, I can't believe it. Then we were texting each other all the way through. And it was great because, you know, like you said in the beginning so eloquently that I cannot say, the way you described the show and the characters, George, our creator, showrunner, is so brilliant as a writer that I just came off Doc Holliday. Doc doesn't say much. He broods in the corner with a mustache. Luke Roman talks a lot, and he says a lot of stuff. I had no idea what we were talking about. Real estate. You think I knew what a prefixed mortgage was? I have no clue. A ghost. I wasn't even a believer. So, and then the biggest comfort was Sarah, because she would call me saying, oh my gosh, we have so much stuff. What are we saying? What is going on? And I was just like, it was so amazing because I'm like, I feel exactly like you. Thank God it's you. We both have this amazingly huge workload. We're going to kill this. This is going to be amazing. And we are literally figuring out different words and texting each other and calling each other. And it was amazing. It was a great comfort. She's amazing. So I was very happy.
Now, you said wasn't a believer. Are you more so now after working on this show?
Yes. I didn't believe in ghosts at all. There is something about St. John's, Newfoundland. And I personally didn't have an experience, but I met way too many co-stars, especially the ones from out of town that stayed at this one hotel in St. John's that had experiences. And it's tough to just not believe people, especially when it was, more than 5. It was a lot. It was getting ridiculous that I was like, what is going on with everybody? But supposedly there's something going on down there in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Can you
a great
go ahead?
place to shoot.
Yeah. Talk about where you guys shot. You're saying St. John's. Where did you guys shoot? Was it actual sets, actual homes, or can you just talk a little bit about that?
We had a wonderful set that designed for the Roman agency that was in St. John's in a studio. And then all of our house locations were around Newfoundland or at the city and outside of the city as well. And just like Tim was saying, I mean, the region has such a wonderful spooky history, and they love their ghost stories in St. John's. They do this wonderful ghost tour, walking tour, where you can visit all the haunted houses of St. John's. And I hope some of our locations will be on that tour now that we're coming out of COVID, because we have
That's cool.
So many beautiful, like old Victorian mansions and seaside coastal homes, and then also just very normal looking suburban homes, but in areas with an interesting history. So yeah, there's something about Newfoundland that really brought the extra spookiness.
And then Danishka, what about you? We were asking Tim on his thoughts on otherness of what could exist. What about you of pre-working on the show and then after working on the show? Ghosts?
I am open-minded. I love a good ghost story. I have never seen a ghost, but maybe if we keep shooting in Newfoundland, I'll be lucky.
Let me follow up on that question, because did you guys have to do research into any real haunted houses or occurrences that have happened? And can you talk anything about that? Because I'm sure a whole season's worth of haunted houses, it might help to have some experts on hand, huh?
Well, it was very interesting to me that a haunted house, or just the implication that a house is haunted, does affect its market value of the house when you're trying to sell it, which was a true fact. I mean, I sounded like Luke Roman there for a second. I didn't know that at all. Like I came in pretty naive of all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting stuff. I heard some interesting things while I was there. I'll just say we went down.
It's interesting the disclosures you have to make if you have any kind of murder in your house. Or
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, that's actually a part of the real estate contract. You have to talk about that. You guys probably had to look into that as well, correct? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that might lead into some really interesting spoilers.
Oh no.
I'll tell you, if you watch Surreal Estate, you will get an education in the disclosure elements of haunted houses.
Oh, that's so interesting to me. Yeah, that's so great.
And I will say this, not to throw Jim in an uncomfortable place, but Curious Jim here has lived in a haunted house and a haunted apartment that the rest of them were not occupied. And Jim, just briefly tell them why you're curious.
No. Listen, I keep it to myself because everyone thinks when I tell this story, it makes me sound like some crazy guy. But me and my ex-wife, we did live for almost 3 months in a haunted house before we left all our belongings behind and moved to a new state. Because it was, and I am familiar with the disclosures because I found out afterwards when I talked to the landlords. They're like, "Oh yeah, we forgot to tell you about that." Like, what? Anyways, this isn't about me. It isn't about me. But because of that, I mean, I'm super interested in stuff like this. Do the disclosure agreements, do you have to reveal this to buyers ahead of time? Is this like, or how does that work? Because I know, like Tim, in this first episode, there's one of my favorite lines is when your character is talking to one of the ladies about, well, I'm not going to be able to, I'll have to lower the price of the house now. And you're like, no, don't do that. And I just thought that was so funny. That was so great. A true real estate agent's mind working in this. So, I don't know. I just find that also interesting.
Well, first of all, Jim, we can sue those people because that's what's known as a vis cachet. They needed to disclose that, and I did my research, guys, for this role.
Oh,
house, let's go! So that needed to be disclosed. Also, I love that you picked up on that because that was one of my favorite parts of reading that first script. It's like there's all this craziness going on around this thing, and that's not what scares them. What scares me was lowering the price, and that's what I understood the character. Honestly, a little bit where I was like, George really helped because he's always there for you. Danishka also, they're great. They're just so present. So it was like he's a salesman. At the end of the day, this guy loves to sell houses. He has a certain connection to the special ones, but he loves to sell at the end of the day.
That's what makes the whole, ensemble of characters so interesting is like, they're helping people. They really are. And they want to, but they're not these selfless, heroes who, had a calling from birth to fix haunted houses. They just really want to be good at their jobs. And actually, they really want to make money. there's like, and they're very, they're very unashamed about this, so that they like bring that wonderful honesty, that little bit of, really relatable avarice to their wacky lives.
Yeah, I would also, this is a full-on ensemble piece, 100%. It's too bad we don't have all the team here, because that would just the wonderful array of characters, people, and on the show would be just, maybe it's too much, too hot to handle.
No, I look forward to the first panel with the whole group. You guys, there's an energy when you're all together that's really exciting, and it's just, it bubbles over. So it'll be great. People are going to love them all together.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I noticed, because we had to do this via COVID. It was one of those productions, so it was a little strange. The testing procedure and everything was strange. I mean, I might be biased, but I personally found the chemistry of the team incredible and like so watchable. As the producer, how did you guys know that this gang was, because we didn't even really get to, I didn't screen test. Sarah and I had worked together, so that's fine. Savannah and I had worked together. But I mean, it felt like when we got together, that group, we meshed almost immediately. And I was just wondering, did we just get lucky, or did you guys kind of know what was going to go? Or
well, gosh, we took casting so seriously, and as you know, it took forever and ever. Yeah. And I think it's partly because, we just really wanted to make sure we got it right. We really wanted to make sure that we got great people. I mean, obviously, we knew right away we wanted Tim. Everybody loves working with Tim, but when you're bringing a team together, you want to make sure that you've got a great diversity of personality, but that you've also got people who are great listeners, because I think that's the key to chemistry with any cast, is like they're curious about each other and they want to know about each other. And our cast is like that. They're just all like hungry, fabulous individuals, and so very, very different. So when you guys are together in a room, it's just magic. And it was lovely. Just I remember the first episode, like the first day we were shooting in the Roman agency, which we, was, the paint was still wet. We were still finishing the ceiling. And you guys, saunter in your fabulous real estate outfits and sit down at that boardroom table. And it was just like, oh yeah, okay, we got it right. It's really great.
Since we're talking about the ensemble cast, would you mind just kind of like, especially the real estate cast, can you go ahead and give us an idea of who it is the people will be meeting at the Roman agency?
Do you want me to start, Tim, or do you want to go?
Well, we've got Father Phil,
who's played by Adam Cousin, and he's wonderful. He's a fallen priest and an expert in research.
We have the incredible August Ricky.
Oh my God, yes, Mo, who is kind of a mad steampunk genius who builds the incredible machines that allow the team to track down the ghost.
Glasses ever.
And all-time steam sealer of all time. I mentioned her before, Savannah Baisley.
Savannah, who people know from Wynonna, and who is the office assistant, but so much more. She's really an amazing character.
That's cool.
And then, of course, we have Sarah Levy, who plays Susan Ireland, and who's brand new to the world of ghost investigation, but who is a killer real estate agent who brings a massive Rolodex of clients to the agency.
And I personally would add Danishka and George. Jackson too, but then I'm throwing in the whole crew. But honestly, I'm not lying about it was you were so available, you and George. It's so appreciated. You need to know that, because it's not always that on shows. So thank you for that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, George set the tone. He's a super generous showrunner, and together, we just love the show so much. And there was something special, I think, about shooting during COVID, because we were all so isolated in so many ways. We couldn't just go out and have our real lives. And most of us were, had come from away. We're in Newfoundland, but we're not Newfoundlanders, most of us. So yeah, I think it was a really tight group, and it really gave us the chance to really focus on creating this first season, hopefully the first season of many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You mentioned the tone of the show, and coming from the other shows both of you have worked on and being a fan of those shows too, I would say this one definitely has a very enjoyable quirkiness to it. If you want to touch upon that, and if you agree or not, and I feel a lot of that is involved with the writing and then the delivery of those lines, because it wasn't necessarily like busting out laughing the whole time, but there's some lines you're just like, oh my gosh, like it just was so funny and so smart and witty. We'll start with Tim because you had mentioned the dialogue you had to learn. So yeah.
I was fortunate enough. I got the first 2 scripts almost immediately. So that was great because, pilots, sometimes those are tough episodes to try and set a tone. Because most of the time they're like a setup. You got to set everything up. And something like this, I felt, again, I feel biased though. I felt like we knocked it out of the park tone-wise almost immediately. You kind of get it's a special tone, but it all kinds of, you get all the flavors almost immediately. And you kind of see what we're going to go with in this amazing world we're going to be in. So to set the tone right off the bat like that, I just... I was blown away, and I could feel it on the page, and then you feel it when you're on the set. Like I said, then that the first day in the conference room was magic. My first scene was actually the Exorcist scene, which was great because it was like 3 a.m. and the rain machines, and I was like, this is a great way to meet the crew. This is perfect. I don't have to talk. Just it was great. I was like, it was super cool, and then I got to see that first image, and that was the first image of the show I saw was just the back of my head with the hat on the rain and the Exorcist, and I was like, this is going to be awesome.
And we made Tim stand in the rain for like 5 hours. No complaints. You just did it. You're amazing.
No stress. I don't mind rain.
Enjoy being really wet. Yeah, no, like the tone I think was really challenging. I mean, we all loved the scripts. George is such a great writer, and our writer's room is so talented, but it's not an easy tone, supernatural comedy with a lot of very dry banter and a lot of, very technical kind of real estate and legal and, accounting language. But we all loved the tone. And so I think we fought really hard to try and make sure that we could nail it early. The cast just worked so hard to make sure that they found those characters and found them quickly. Yeah, we were really happy with the tone from the first episode. But there's not a lot of examples of supernatural comedy, and certainly none about supernatural comedy in real estate. So we had to like dig in to make sure that we could create that tone.
And then, go ahead, Luke.
Now, before this, did you have any like favorite paranormal TV shows, movies, or things you saw in the past or growing up that you just loved, or that maybe even inspired you in this? Like, oh, I kind of want to do something like this, or I want to pay tribute to this, or I just love this and made you want to be a part of this.
You want to go first, Tim?
Oh, you go ahead.
My weird influences are actually a lot of Gothic literature,
Yeah.
which is great for haunted houses, actually. So, things like Turn of the Screw and The Woman in White, those are wonderful, crazy ghost stories. And so I was always looking for opportunities to bring some of that really classic haunted house, the woman in the long white gown and the drowned sailors and, the various little things that we know from 19th century Victorian ghost stories. But then, to bring that into some people trying to flip a house. So, but that was definitely one of my influences.
Nice.
There was a Michael J. Fox movie called The Frighteners.
Yeah.
That was, for some reason, I just was like, I got the script and I'm like, I need to watch that movie again. I remember that had like the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a different spin on this. That was the first time I kind of saw the comedy with the horror. And I think it was Lord of the Rings guy. I should probably know his name.
Yeah, Peter Jackson.
It was Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
So I knew something was great about this movie. You could just see right away. So, and I watched it again, and it had that stuff. Michael J. Fox is just, he's so good. So that's kind of the tone that I had in my brain.
That's cool. Also, there's Michael J. Fox.
Awesome.
You got to keep them close.
Yeah.
And Carrie, you were asking a question.
Yeah, continuing off this of tone, and actually speaking of horror movies, we mentioned how the show is funny, but I also liked it, and I would hope horror fans wanting to check out this show. It does have a nice scary element too. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk about how it was for you to make sure that show achieved it, and maybe once you got to see it, because once you're on set, it's one thing, but to see it with all the effects and everything layered on it, start with Danishka.
Well, I think a big part of it was our cinematography. Jackson Perrell, our fabulous DP, was a huge part of setting that tone and making sure that when we did our suspense moments and we did our horror moments, that, we really embraced the darkness in those scenes. We're a comedy, but when the people are in danger, when our main heroes are in danger, or when the people who own the house are in danger, we want to feel it, and we want to take people to a really scary gothic kind of place. So we had beautiful dark interiors and great shafts of light and wonderful color tones, and really brought some of the best elements of horror cinematography into the scarier scenes.
And then Tim.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. I mean, I remember the first time I got to see it was probably at the ADR session. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's after we film, months later, after things have been put together. Sometimes we got to go and record some added dialogue or record other dialogue that wasn't recorded clean or whatever. And I definitely remember messaging you and George, but also I messaged Jackson, our cinematographer, right away. And I said, dude, that was... And I messaged Sarah and I was, did you see it? It looks amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I got immediately excited, and very proud and kind of like, wow, am I going to be a part of this amazing show? It was amazing to see.
Nice. Can we ask you, Tim, what drew you to the character? Like, what is it about this character? What was different about this character and what you played in Wynonna Earp, Vagrant Queen, Digstown, Schitt's Creek? What is it about this character that made him so interesting to you, and how did he differ from what you've been playing recently?
I was scared. I was petrified. Petrified of this character. So I really wanted it because I was so scared of it. I didn't know. I couldn't find him right away. And I thank George for helping me find him, and Danishka. And it was difficult at first. It's just so much going on with that character, so different than me. And I don't know how I've made it through this far in life, knowing as little as I do. But yeah, I really, really wanted to find him, and I felt I did. And when I found the character, it was a really nice feeling.
Nice.
I should add that Luke Roman has an amazing wardrobe.
Thank you for. I was like, we talked about his cool clothes.
Whoa!
Look at that.
He has the most beautiful designer suits, and it was great going to the fittings and seeing these amazing suits come to life. That they really were a fun part of watching Tim create Luke's character. He has a lot of style,
especially compared to the father. What's the character?
Father Phil.
Father Phil. Yeah. That's so great.
Well, I was going to say, then it really.
Any of that? Did you get to keep any of those suits customly tailored to you?
I never take anything from sets. Definitely not taking anything season 1. I'll tell you that much. Because I need that suit again for season 2.
That's right.
There you go.
Right. Don't jinx it.
The wardrobe definitely adds to the tall, dark, and mysterious because, I noticed on your look, Tim, it's most of your clothes were either solid black or layers of dark colors, and then your hair is really dark. And then, there's just kind of a mystery about your character's past. We get little moments it was fun with a little backstory of where he grew up and school and everything. So how did you like embodying this kind of look compared to other outfits you've had to wear for other shows?
Don't forget, I wrapped Wynonna Earp on the Friday, and I think I was Luke Roman, whatever COVID allowed. I never went home. I flew straight from Alberta to Newfoundland and started. But kind of like Danishka said, once I put on that first suit, and then you go see hair and makeup, and the Sky and Daniel and that team, they're just incredible. I mean, I came in there with long hair and the big mustache. They must have been, what is this guy? And I walked out of there in that 3-piece suit with the hair just perfect, poofed, and they made me look great.
Now it's kind of a running gag on Schitt's Creek. They had you with the beard, no beard. And on this one, obviously no beard. Now, was there any talk about the facial hair thing, or do you have a preference of what you like in your personal life?
Facial hair discussions in me there have been, I make you bet there have been more producer meetings about my facial hair than any other
So many meetings about facial hair.
in the past decade. Well, don't forget, when I was testing for the role of Luke or in auditioning, I had the Doc Holliday mustache. I remember George he's like, I like him. You got this big mustache. And I can't blame him. I'm like, I won't have it on the day, but I can't shave now. I'm not going to be Doc Holliday tomorrow. I believe we had a couple of, maybe it's a spoiler. I won't say anything. But maybe I won't say anything.
There may be a beard. Spoiler.
But then back on Vagrant Queen, you're clean shaven and blonde. So
yeah.
We're all over the
we
place.
had a beard on Vagrant Queen.
No, the final day of Vagrant
Oh, the
Queen.
final day, yeah.
We saved
it's a little mix.
the last day. Yeah.
Crazy. Hey, Tim, I can't help but noticing, and I'm going to pull it up on the wall behind you. There's some a bunch of comic books that are framed. Are you a collector? Are you a fan?
Yes.
Oh, can you tell us some of your favorites?
He's also a comic book writer.
Oh, wait. Tell us about that. Yeah.
I got to start writing the Wynonna Earp comic book with the amazing Bo Smith for IDW. And so far, I've now written 3 full graphic novels and 7 single issues. And him and I are now working on another project together. And I just wrote something else for something completely different that I cannot wait to talk about, but I can't yet until it comes out. But I'm very excited. But
that's fantastic. We're all big comics fans here, and that's so cool that you're writing graphic novels and comics, because I know how hard that is. Yeah.
Listen, I've been a friend. I've been like a fan since I'm 10. I inherited my brother's collection, and then I was that kid who got my $5 allowance every week, and I would take my bike and
that was me.
The comic shop, and $5 can get you a lot of comics back in the day. And I was I don't know why I was the bag and board guy from day one, and I kept everything. And then I inherited. My uncle knew I liked comics, so he found a bunch, and then I got a bunch of Silver Age stuff. Like those are the 4 times that Superman raced the Flash.
Oh wow!
Those are the 4 races. That's the Galactus, the first time the Silver Surfer appeared.
Oh man, that's one of my favorites.
The Iron Man when he got his new the new outfit, the red and orange. The first Deadpool, Storm Shadow. This was my Bo Smith because I love him. He wrote a Star Wars issue, and so I had to get it. That's my Vagrant Queen poster, so I got it enlarged because I love all that stuff. And
that's so cool. Yeah. By the way, I am counting the days until we can see Galactus in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just can't wait till that happens. So
yeah, I heard that Comic-Con might happen in November. We'll see.
Yep.
Woohoo.
Yep. It's Thanksgiving weekend. It's a Comic-Con special edition. It's going to be smaller, but hopefully I've already got my hotel room, so I'm planning on going.
Yeah, a big part of like the shows we do the Scare Guy show here. We also do the Con Guy show, which is based on Comic-Con and all that. Are either of you like convention goers, or like do that? Because obviously it looks like you collect, and the floor is just big on collecting and all that. So do either of you have convention experience, or have you been on any panels there?
Tim's been on a million panels. I'm just the geek wandering through the aisles buying merch.
Not just. There's no just there. You are. It's great.
Yeah,
we wear the geek crown proudly here.
I can't wait to get back into real life cons and real life festivals. And gosh, 2020 was hard, and it's going to be really nice to be out there, watching movies and going to panels with a crowd of people.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Are you guys doing any online panels for any of the online conventions that are coming up for this show?
Yeah, Sarah and I just did ATX. I believe that comes out June. I should know this date. 20th?
Yeah, I think so.
June 20th, which is incredible, and I was honored to be there. But it sucked because that festival's so amazing that I wanted to go back again in person. I love that town. It was.
I love Austin.
Goodness.
I'm hoping to go to Fantastic Fest in September, so we'll see. That's my next goal.
I know we're kind of coming up towards the end, so I think Carrie probably has our closing questions for us.
Ooh, I don't know about closing, but I was going to say we've had a bunch of questions on Tim. So Danishka, I was going to say you've also come off the film, the I Was Lorena Bobbitt. So you have your historical horror stories, and now you're working on a more historical or more fiction, but maybe some history in there. How do you approach those differently, or are they the same? And with this show, were you trying to be like, hey, wait, this really happened? Can we like put some real mythology in there? Because you also mentioned, reading the Gothic horror as well.
Well, I think I always look for great writing, and great human stories, and I love every genre. It's some people have a very narrow interest. They only want to do rom-coms or they only want to do action, but I love them all, and I always am excited about tackling any kind of new story convention. So haunted houses, check. Super excited about that. Really love science fiction. Vagrant Queen, check. So yeah, well, we'll see what happens next. I'm always game for a good story.
Nice.
Very cool. Luke, did you have any other questions before we wrap up here? Are we good?
No, I just want to say it's been awesome to talk to you. And anytime you want to come on and talk about comics or any other projects you're doing, we'd love to have you back. Because
Absolutely.
It sounds like we have some fellow nerds here, so we'd love to chat more, promote anything else you're doing.
Oh, wait. I do
Go
have
ahead,
another
Carrie.
one. Yes. Okay. So then I got a closing question for the two of you. What do you hope people take away from the show? Give you a second there.
I really love stories about chosen families. And I think we've got one of those in this show. We've got a group of people who come together and they're very different. And at first there's a lot of misunderstanding, but there's a real love that grows between these characters as they develop. And that's the thing I really love about the story. I hope people will fall in love with our characters.
Yeah, well said. Me too. I did. I know I was one of them, but in watching it, yeah, I really loved it.
Last question for me is: are we gonna the entire cast of characters? Are we gonna see their backstories, find out what their histories are? And we've kind of just been hinting at Luke, played by Tim, his backstory, but seems like there's a lot to dig into here.
Yeah, they all get their time. We get to learn about all of the people who work at the Roman agency, and they're all fascinating. So there's little hints that happen throughout the season, but by the end of season 1, you have a pretty good understanding about who all those people are and why they are the way they are. Although I have to say, Luke has probably the most complicated family history. But I will say no more on that topic. It's a fun ride.
And I'll say that as fun as the show is, the stakes are pretty real also. And things are gonna happen.
Well, we can't wait to see the rest of it. Speaking of which, when can our viewers see this and our listeners? When does this come on and where?
It is coming out on Syfy Channel in July.
Yes.
In the USA, and it is coming out on CTV Syfy in Canada very shortly after. And so we are promoting all those dates on Twitter. And there's the count. There's even some people doing a really handy daily countdown on Twitter until the show premieres. So yeah, it's only a few weeks away.
I think US, it's the July 17th.
Fantastic. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie, thank you for setting this great interview up for us today. Carrie's so great. This is her sweet spot. She loves doing this stuff, and I know that she was very excited when she said that there was a possibility we could talk to both of you. And I was like, yes, that would be so great. So, Danishka and Tim, thank you so much for joining the Scare Guys show today. Where can people either follow you, find out about what projects you're working on, or what's next for the characters of the show? Danishka, you first.
Oh, find me on the gram. I'm around posting behind the scenes when they'll let me. I have a lot more pictures banked that I'm dying to share that I'm just waiting until the show premieres.
Fantastic. Tim.
You could find me at The Real Tim Rozon on Instagram and Twitter.
Cheeseman.
You can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at Cheese on Couch, and also on thescareguy.com.
Carrie.
Yes, you all can find me online at Carrie D. Lane on all the social medias. And yes, again, thank you so much to Danishka and Tim. It was so fun to talk to you on other shows and now this show. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for joining us. You can find me, James D. Fry, on Instagram. And thank you for tuning into the Scare Guy show today. Please follow us at thescareguy.com. Like us, follow us, tell your friends about us, and tell your friends about Surreal Estate, which is coming on in July here in the U.S. on Syfy Network. It looks fantastic. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks so much, guys.